స్క్రీన్ షేర్ అవుతుందా నాన్న?
అవుతుంది సార్. అవుతుంది సార్.
ఏమనుకుంటాను స్క్రీన్ మీద?
జీరో రేటెడ్ సప్లైస్ ఇన్ GST అని ఉంది సార్.
Good morning, students. Welcome to the Goods and Services and Customs Act up to 2 subject class. In today's class, we are going to learn about the zero rated supplies in GST. There are certain supplies which are considered zero rated GST Act. In this class, we try to learn what do you mean by zero rated supplies, how they are taxed, and what are the different concepts that are associated with the zero rated supplies. All these things we try to learn in this class. Okay, so please all of you note down. You take a book and pen, you note down. Sitting idle, just listen and note down the important points. Okay. Introduction. In any economy, the government tries to increase exports as much as possible. This helps the government in maintaining the country's economic growth, employment, and balance of payments. To boost exports, the government provides reliefs and benefits to business houses. One such relief provided under the GST regime is called zero rated supplies in GST. Now, in any country, the government, any government, whether the central government or state government, always tries to increase its exports as much as possible, because nowadays it is the exports which are playing a major role in any economy. If any country is to be rated as a developed nation, that it should have more exports. That means its exports should be greater than its imports. That's why every country is trying to improve its exports as much as possible. Wherever there is a possibility, export. This export-oriented policy will help the government the employment and balance of payments. So, because of this export orientation, the country's economic growth will take place and improve the economic growth and the employment opportunities that are available to the educated youth and skilled youth labor will be improved, and the balance of payments position of will also favorable, favorable, as there is a surplus in the foreign trade. That means if any country is having excess of exports over imports, that country's rating will be improved in international stage. Okay, so to boost exports, the government provides certain reliefs and benefits to the business houses. So therefore, to boost the exports in the country, any government, every government will provide certain reliefs and concessions and advantages to business so that they don't export their goods. Such relief provided under the GST regime is called the zero rated. Such relief was announced by the government, that is zero rated supplies. These supplies made by a registered dealer as an export qualifies zero rated supplies in GST. The rate of tax on supplies is zero, or you can say supplies are tax free. Any supply registered export to other countries as well as supply to economic zones qualifies zero rated supplies. So if you export the goods or services to other country, or if you sell services to the special economic zones, it is to be and treat under the zero rated supplies. So the rate of GST on these supplies are zero. The supplies to a developer of an SEZ is also covered under zero rated supplies in GST, as no tax is levied on these supplies as well. So the supplies between the SEZ or SEZ developers will also cover under this zero rated supplies. There are certain supplies on which there is no incidence of GST. It is important to understand the underlying difference among all such supply criterion. Under GST, there are 4 categories of supplies which are similar in nature, on which there is a small difference in these various concepts and how these concepts are different from each other. So, nil rated supplies, let us know What is the difference between these concepts? Non-taxable supplies, exempt supplies, zero-rated supplies. These are four concepts under GST. There is a small
Sir, why?
difference in these four concepts.
Sir, voice break
So, what
అవుతుంది
is the
sir.
meaning? First, let us know the meaning. The meaning of nil-rated supplies.
సార్ వాయిస్ బ్రేక్ అవుతుంది సార్.
ఏనా
వాయిస్ బ్రేక్ అవుతుంది సార్.
బ్రేక్ అవుతుందా? ఏం చేస్తున్నా నెట్వర్క్ ఏదైనా ప్రాబ్లం ఉంటుంది. ఓకే కానివ్వండి, నేను ఇది వీడియో రికార్డ్ చేస్తాను, మళ్ళీ మీకు
ఓకే
షేర్
సార్.
చేస్తాను.
ఓకే సార్.
మీకు షేర్ చేస్తాను మళ్ళీ.
ఓకే సార్. ఓకే సార్.
కాబట్టి ది నిల్ రేటెడ్ సప్లైస్. ఫస్ట్ నిల్ రేటెడ్. వాట్ డూ యూ మీన్ బై నిల్ రేటెడ్ సప్లైస్? Nil rated supplies means goods and services on which 0% GST is applicable. That means nil rated supplies means on these supplies the GST is applicable, but it is zero. It is 0%. Okay. Next, non-taxable supplies means goods and services on which GST is not levied at all. So non-taxable supplies means on those supplies, on those goods and services, GST will not be levied at all. They are known as non-taxable supplies. And exempt supplies means the supplies which are exempt from payment of tax. On these supplies you need not pay the GST. They are exempted. They are exempted supplies. Next, zero rated supplies means goods or services which are exported or supplied to SEZ. So that's what the zero rated supplies which we are learning now. Goods or services which are exported or supplied to SEZ are known as zero rated supplies. Okay. Next, regarding the availability of input tax credit. Regarding the availability of input tax credit for these four aspects. For nil rated supplies, input tax credit is not available. For non-taxable supplies, input tax credit is not available. And for exempt supplies, the input tax credit is not available. But for zero rated supplies, input tax credit is available. Just you see the difference. For remaining nil rated, non-taxable, input tax credit is not available. But for zero rated supplies, they can claim input credit. GST applicability. As far as GST applicability is concerned, for nil rated supplies, these supplies will fall under GST ambit. That means for those supplies GST is applicable, but it is 0%. For non-taxable supplies, does not fall within GST ambit. That means they are not under the purview of GST. Next, exempt supplies fall within GST ambit. They are under GST ambit. They are exempted. Next, supplies. Zero rated supplies falls within GST ambit, but their tax may be returned or the tax may be refunded by the So, as an example, the nil rated supply accommodation with the tariff below rupees 1000. If you go to hotel and stay in hotel, the rent of the hotel is below 1000 rupees, you need not pay any GST. Above 1000 rupees, you have to pay GST. Okay. Next, non-taxable supplies. For non-taxable supplies, the example is supply of alcohol for human consumption. Supply of alcohol for human consumption. That means on alcohol, there is no GST. It's not taxable. It is not under the purview of GST. Next, exempt supplies. The example for exempt supplies is inward supplies from unregistered dealer. Inward supplies from unregistered dealer. That means if any dealer buy the goods from the unregistered dealer, since he is not eligible to collect GST, he will not pay GST to the dealer. Okay. Next, zero rated supplies. The example for zero rated supplies is export of shoes to South Africa. That means exporting goods or services to some other country is zero rated supplies. So these are the four similar types of concepts which there is a small variation among these various concepts under GST. Zero rated procedure for zero rated supplies. The supplies making zero rated supplies are entitled to claim refunds. You know, they whatever the supplies made under the zero rated supplies, they can claim if at all they pay any GST, they can claim refund. The refunds are for the input tax paid on the goods and services which are used for zero rated supplies. And these zero rated supplies can also claim input tax credit, including non-taxable and exempt supplies. For example, an exporter supplies shoes to Dubai and uses soles in the production of such shoes. The exporter has an option of claiming input tax credit of GST on the purchase of soles. There are two options available with a dealer to claim refunds. Now, in the zero rated, they can claim the tax as well as input tax. Both they can claim. The country purchase or producing those products on the input, whatever the tax paid by him, that can also be claimed for refund. Okay. So both can be claimed by. So there are two options in case of refunding. There are two options available to the exporters. One is the dealer bond or letter of undertaking and claim a refund of the accumulated credit of tax. The first option to the exporter is we can export under letter of undertaking or bond and claim a refund of accumulated input tax credit. That is the one option. And the second option is the dealer can pay IGST while making the supplies and claim refund of the same. So these are the two options available. According to the convenient to the exporter, he can claim refund of the tax. The first option, he need not pay tax, but he can claim input tax credit. But in the second option, you can pay IGST and then you can refund, you can claim for refund of the IGST. Are provided to any options for convenience. So, as per their convenience, they can choose any of these two choices. Bond or letter of undertaking, and you can claim tax credit. But in the second option, you just pay the IGST and you can claim refund of IGST both on output and input. Okay. Next, refund procedures for export of goods. What are the refund procedure for exports of goods? నేను ఆ క్లాస్కి జాయిన్ అయిన వాళ్ళందరూ కూడా నెంబర్ పోస్ట్ చేయండి. ఎందుకంటే లాస్ట్లో మళ్ళా కొద్దిగా టెక్నికల్ ప్రాబ్లం వస్తే నోట్ చేసుకోవడం ఇబ్బంది అవుతుంది కాబట్టి. ఓకే, నా వాయిస్ వినిపిస్తుందన్నా? జాయిన్ అయిన వాళ్ళందరూ కూడా నెంబర్ పోస్ట్ చేయండి. పోస్ట్ చేసి క్లాస్ వినండి. లాస్ట్లో మళ్ళా కొంచెం టెక్నికల్ ప్రాబ్లం వస్తూ ఉంది. ఓకే, లెఫ్ట్ కావద్దండి, ఇప్పుడే నెంబరు పోస్ట్ చేసి క్లాస్ వినండి. రాసుకుంటున్నారా అందరూ? రాసుకోండి నోట్స్. ఖాళీగా కూర్చుంటే నిద్ర వస్తుంది, క్లాస్ ఊరికి కూర్చుంటే నిద్ర వస్తుంది. తీసుకొని నోట్ చేసుకోండి. మీకు స్క్రీన్ మీద కనిపించేది రాసుకోవడానికి ప్రయత్నం చేయండి. ఓకే, నౌ let us see what is the refund procedure for exports of goods. If you export goods and what is the procedure? Under GST laws, the process of claiming for export refund process for claiming of refund is very easy. For zero rated supplies, there is no need to file refund RFD 01. As far as goods are concerned, if you export, the export dealer need not specifically claim, need not file refund application separately to the government. Shipping filed by exporter is a refund claim in itself. The shipping bill is to be considered refund claim. So, shipping bill So that shipping bill itself is a claim for refund of the taxes. But the two conditions are to be satisfied. The law specifies that there are two conditions. What are those conditions? Number one, a person carrying the export goods should file an export manifest. The first condition is those who have exported goods, they should file their information in the returns, export manifest. Number two, applicant should have filed the returns GST 3B appropriately. The applicant should file returns. Unless you file returns, you cannot claim refund of the tax for the exports. Therefore, these two conditions are to be satisfied by the exporter. If they satisfy these two conditions, automatically their shipping bill itself will be considered as a application for refund of the export. Once the above two conditions are filed appropriately, the refund is processed by the court. If these two conditions are fulfilled by the exporter, automatically refund government department. Next, refund procedures for export of services and supplies to SEZs. What is the refund procedure for export of services? In the earlier case, we have that was the procedure for goods. Now, what is the refund procedure for services to SEZs? What is the procedure? The pay GST and claim a refund is always available. On exports, on GST may be paid and may be made. It's always available. In case from GST 1 paid the GST, then you have to claim refund in the application form GST RFD 01. For exporters of services, the following are also required to be filed along with the refund claim. That means the exporters of services, are concerned. Exporters have to following other aspects. What are those? Number one, a statement containing number and invoices. Statement containing number and invoices. Number and date of number, date of bank realization certificates. That means the amount, whatever the amount that is supplied, the value of supply, the bank realization bank realization certificates are foreign inward remittance certificate is to be submitted. The supplier of goods or services to an SEZ are required to file the following along with the refund claim. So, in this way, the service to fulfill these two conditions. Suppliers of goods to SEZ is concerned, they are required to file the following along with the refund claim. Along with the refund claim, they have to file the following forms. What are those? Containing number and date of invoice. Number 2, proof of receipt of goods or services which is authorized by the specified officer of SEZ. So proof of receipt of the goods or services. That means proof is to be produced as so and so much value of goods have been received from so and so person. This is to be certified by the officer of special economic zone. Number 3, details of payment made. Details of payment made is to be submitted. Number 4, declaration that the SEZ or developer of SEZ has not claimed the input tax credit of the taxes paid by the supplier. So a declaration is to be submitted that SEZ or the SEZ developer has not claimed the input tax credit. So in this regard, a declaration is essential. Okay. So these are the procedures to be followed by the exporters of goods, exporters of services, exporters of or suppliers of goods or services to the special economic zones or the SEZ developers. After claiming the refund, how the refund is made? How the refund is made? A provisional refund will be made by the government after verification of things. The exporters and of such are entitled to 90% refund after the formalities after export services or supply goods or services to economic zones or zone developers. The government will provisionally refund 90% of tax prior to the SEZ or SEZ developers. Provisional refund is granted within 7 days of the refund claim. So, ఈ 90% refund అనేది within 7 days. Okay. So, the amount of provisional refund is credited to the claimant's bank account. So, this provisional refund amount or temporary refund amount will be credited directly to the claimant's account. That means you have claimed the refund. So or his is directly within 7 days of claim of refund, that is 90% of the tax, 90% paid by the exporter, refunded within 7 days in his bank account. There is a condition was fixed by the law. So there is a condition attached to the provisional refund. Provisional refund is subject to condition. If not, the provisional refund is not granted if the applicant being prosecuted. The provisional refund is not granted if the applicant has been prosecuted for any offense under the GST law, or earlier law within past 5 years. Within past 5 years, which means the person who are claiming for the refund of IGST paid to the government, that particular person any offense under GST law or previous law within past 5 years. That means within past 5 years, exporter who are claiming refund would not be involved in any offense. Under GST law or old law. The amount of tax evaded. The amount of tax evaded is not paid. Of tax evaded in such prosecution shall be more than rupees 250 lakhs. Should be more than rupees 250 lakhs. That means 2.5 crores. That means if any person involved in the offense during last 5 years under GST law or any other law, tax evaded. Tax evasion means without paying tax. Tax will not be paid. The tax has not paid by the person in the last 5 years. That illegally has not paid tax. And in that case, if he has evaded more than 2.5 crores, if he had evaded tax to the extent of more than 2.5 crores, and he is not refunded. He is not refunded because he was involved in the prosecution from the department and he has evaded the tax by more than 2.5 crores. Therefore, the refund will not be made to that particular person. Okay. So, This is how the zero rated taxes, zero rated supplies will be defined or considered under GST law, and the exporters or suppliers of the goods and services to the SEZ are treated specially under the GST law. Therefore, this is all about the zero rated supplies under GST. So I will brief within 2 minutes. So in any country, exports will be made. The exports are given more importance because it export more will be the growth, balance of payment will be very good. So keeping in this keeping in the price to its the organization exported to the other countries. So in this in the GST Act, Indian government also zero rated supplies. As far as zero rated supplies are concerned, they are there. Whatever the tax paid by the suppliers of exports and suppliers of goods and services to the SEZ and SEZ developers, that tax will be refunded by the government, subject to the condition of the fulfillment of these various aspects. There are, as far as the goods are concerned, goods suppliers or goods exporters, they can directly export goods by giving bond without paying tax and claim refund of input tax. Second option is the refund of procedure for goods. The export manifest is to be submitted, and the returns of their returns are to be submitted properly. Unless these two conditions are fulfilled, their tax may not be refunded. Next, as far as the refund procedure of services are concerned, this applies to SEZ. The option to IGST is always available. After paying of IGST, the amount can be claimed refund and in the GST refund 01 format. Subject to, they have to produce these things: statement, invoice containing the number and the date of invoice is to be submitted, bank realization certificate is to be submitted. So the suppliers of goods or services to the SEZ are required to submit the following things: that is, statement, proof of receipt of goods by the SEZ officers, details of payment made, how the payments were made, and for declaration stating that the goods have been received in a proper condition by the recipient of the goods. Application of after claiming of within 7 days, after claiming of 7 days, of the refund will be directly credited to the claimant's bank account. Paid by him will be credited into his bank account within 7 days. But the condition is, if the claimant or if the person has been involved in the prosecution in the last 5 years and evaded tax to the extent of more than 2.5 crores, then in that case, the refund will not be given to the procedure and attach of the. So, thank you very much for attending the class. So, చాలా మంది ఇంకా క్లాసులకు రావడం లేదు. కొద్దిగా మీరు ప్రతి ఒక్కరూ కూడా వాళ్ళకు ఇన్ఫార్మ్ చేయండి. దయచేసి అందరూ కూడా క్లాసులకు అటెండ్ అయ్యే విధంగా చూడండి. ఓకే, సో అందరూ చేశారు కదా. నేను ఈ వీడియో రికార్డ్ చేశాను. ఈ రికార్డ్ చేసినటువంటి వీడియోని నేను మీకు యూట్యూబ్లో అప్లోడ్ చేసి మీకు ఈవినింగ్ యూట్యూబ్లో మీకు పెడతాను. సో అది థ్యాంక్ యూ. ఆ నెంబరు పోస్ట్ చేసిన వాళ్ళు లెఫ్ట్ అయిపోండి. నెంబర్ పోస్ట్ చేసిన వాళ్ళు లెఫ్ట్ అయిపోండి. పోస్ట్ చేయని వాళ్ళు పోస్ట్ చేసి లెఫ్ట్ అయిపోండి, ఎగ్జిట్ అయిపోండి. ఎవరు ఉన్నారు మీటింగ్ లో? నెంబర్ పోస్ట్ చేసి ఎగ్జిట్ అయిపోండి. నెక్స్ట్ క్లాస్కి అటెండ్ కండి.